I think the main challenge here is that the situation of minority women often fall in between different movements and therefore are not addressed adequately. What I mean is that when there are women's rights movements, mainstream movements, they often forget this very particular situation of minority women because they are so busy with their own general women's rights issues. On the other side, when there are minority rights movement, they are trying so hard to prioritize the issues that they are struggling with that they often push back the issue of women because it's too sensitive and it only refers and covers just a small part of the discussion because there are other more burning issues such as poverty or employment. So the danger here is that the very particular concerns of minority women are often forgotten because they are somehow in between. And therefore it would be very important for women's rights movements to acknowledge and recognize that they need to include minority women to make their voices heard. At the same time, minority rights movements need to acknowledge that minority women need an extra help and an extra attention, and they should always make sure that even if they argue for general issues and concerns such as poverty, they do talk about the multiple discrimination that women face and the heavy burden on coming out of poverty for a Roma woman, for example, compared to a Roma man. I had a mom who already cut the path, so to say, from the forest. She was a revolutionary woman herself. And so I had a good role model, and it was easy for me to follow somebody and to walk in her footsteps. But I need to admit that I come from a middle class family. I wasn't one of those elite students during my life. So I always had to fight much harder than the others to prove that I have a place and I have a talent. I think for me the biggest motivation to start doing what I'm doing today was a discrimination that I faced when I was 21 years old and I was fired from a workplace. And it was told me straight into my face that this is because I'm of Roma origin, and it was too shameful for the company to have somebody on their board who comes from this minority group. Whatever is a challenge for women in general is also there for Roma women, but it's much harder and much heavier. And what I mean under that is that as a woman, it's very difficult to stand out and to start acting as an advocate for your group. It's difficult for a woman, it's very difficult for a Roma woman, especially if you come from a community, to decide that now you will be a revolutionary woman who will go to the municipality and knock on the door and try to fight for the integration of your students or your kids. It's very difficult because there is always a fear that somebody would take revenge of you on you, your children could be taken away from you. So for a woman to decide that you want to make a change alone, it's very difficult. This is why it's important that women are empowered as a group, as a community, because we need each other's support.